I love jazz. Jazz has always been around my life, probably because my father took me to jazz concerts since I was a young child, because I was the only one who would go with him. My mother didn't like that music at all. Jazz is about improvisation, and improvisation is, I guess, what my life is all about. And maybe after this speech, I can encourage you all to live a little bit more improvised. Jazz, for me, is one of the art forms. It's one of the art forms that inspires me the most. But art, in general, is an engine for all of us. It's an innovator and it's inspiration. Art searches for tradition, heritages, and future, and transforms it in our present tense, and helps us to understand why things are the way they are. For me, jazz in particular is somehow raw, pure, and full of energy. 18 years ago, I was studying to become a mathematics and German teacher in Hamburg. A friend of mine bought a property, and he wanted to develop it into apartments, housing, and businesses. And he had an empty space, and he said, "Tina, why don't you go and open a bar or restaurant? You're not really a teacher type of person. You love to serve, you love jazz, you love good music. Why don't you open your own place?" I thought for a short moment. I asked another friend if he wanted to join me, and I took a big loan, and I took the opportunity and went for it. That was 18 years ago. The bar turned into a crowded, hip, and packed place. And about 10 years ago, I thought, well, I have my own place. Why don't I do what I really love? Why don't I do jazz concerts in my own place? Bringing the music to the people that I really love. I was pretty much the only one, and was among all my friends, they would rather listen to rock or pop or maybe even classic, but jazz was a little edgy. So everybody I asked said, no, don't bring it into the bar. It's going to scare the people away. I mean, it's crowded. You have success. Why would you bring jazz? So I figured I'd do it on Monday nights. Monday is always empty. I cannot scare anybody away. I called it Monday Meets Music. Deliberately, I did not call it Monday Meets Jazz. And what I did a very selective booking. I had some good friends who were jazz musicians living in Hamburg. And the booking was all about good quality and trying to show the different genres and the variety that jazz music offers. So maybe one Monday would be very avant-garde, very hip and scary, and the next Monday could be funky, people almost dancing on the table. And so the people came in and experienced something totally different every Monday. In the beginning it was a little bit empty, but over the weeks and over the months, the Monday night turned into the most crowded night in my place. I think it was because the atmosphere in the bar, which was a nice place, I had good food, good drinks, was sort of a sexy crowd, and bringing live music there and feeling the energy of the live entertainment was some sort of excitement and had some cosmopolitan attitude to it that the people wanted to be part of. They came to the concerts even if they have not been jazz fans at that moment. But being there and experiencing the music so close somehow opened the doors and got the music accessible to everybody, even though you have no clue about this music normally. Watching what happened in my bar, in this small little setting, showed me that there is a potential to inspire much more people if I just bring the music to where the people are. Jazz at that moment, or still, is somehow seen as a niche, as elite, intellectual. And that was also how it is sold through media, even through the jazz musicians themselves. And I realized that jazz music also was not really visible in Hamburg, the city I lived in. Hamburg itself calls itself the musical capital. We have the new built Elbphilharmonic Hall, which is not ready yet, but it will be sometime. We have 3 symphonic orchestras, we have the big musical scene, and Hamburg is the city where the Beatles started their career. But where is the jazz music? And I said, this is not correct, and I wanted to change that. This is why I'm started the ELBJAZZ Festival. Why did I want to do it? Because I wanted to do in a bigger scale what I did at my place. I wanted to reach an audience for music that really inspires me, and I want to give that to other people. I wanted to change their mindset about jazz music, but I needed to connect the city to my idea. How do I do this? I think you need to think big if you want anybody to listen to you. If you start something in a small corner, nobody's going to take you seriously. Nobody's going to listen to you. So I said, what I want to do is I want a big jazz festival. Big. International, thousands of people coming. Really big. Montreux and Hamburg. What does that have to do with each other? Because if I tried to explain people what I wanted to do, I always mentioned, you know, I want to do something like the Montreux Jazz Festival. Is anybody here who's never heard of the Montreux Jazz Festival? No. Probably not everybody has been there. Well, here there's a bigger chance because we are pretty close by. But everybody heard about it. It's a huge festival with like almost 100,000 of people coming. It's jazz all over the city. It's in a beautiful setting. It's internationally known for years, for 40 years now it has been going on. And I don't think it's all jazz lovers particularly who go to this festival, but it's just being among a festival, being among a crowd with other people. So trying to explain my idea, I always said I want a Montreux in Hamburg. And running around the city talking with everybody about my idea, again everybody said, you're crazy, don't do it, you know, you have your bar, why a festival, you have no clue. I talked about this idea on a party with some woman I ran into, and she liked the idea and said to me, well, why don't we just sit down, like write some sort of concept? And the concept was written very quick. We said we need some punchlines, and the punchline is 2 days, 10 venues, 50 concerts. That's easy to understand. And next step, what we needed to do is try to find partners. But before we did that, we tried to figure out how we could transform what I experienced in my bar, like bringing the music close to the people and attracting people to come to a jazz concert. The people did not come to my jazz concert because they knew the band who was playing, but they loved the place, they know it was good drinks, loved the atmosphere, and that opened their mind and that brought them to listen to that music. So what we were looking for was which resembles my bar in Hamburg. And looking for the most favorite spot in the city, it's very easy in Hamburg. It's the harbor. The harbor is the heart of Hamburg. It is this nice touristic scenery if you walk along the river. And on the other side, you're looking right ahead to the docks, to the industrial, to the working harbor district. And the Elbe River and the little ferry boats connect both sides. It's very vivid and it's very close. It's right in the center of the city. And like if you have big container ships driving by or cruise ships, you feel like you can touch them. It's so close. So this is our bar. This is our Hadley's. And now what we did is we searched for partners. We drove around the city with a car and knocked on every doors, like churches that were along the waterfront, boats that were museum ships and maybe had a room where you could do a concert. We went to museums, we went to outside places and asked the city if we can put open air stages. And actually what happened, the people easily connected. We had so many venues offered that we could have had 30 venues or 40 venues. That was easy, but also we needed to find sponsors. So here are two girls who have like no clue about promoting a festival, but who have a big idea and a big desire for good music. And I don't know why, I think because we talked so excited about it, we very soon had our first sponsors. It was Audi and it was a bank, and they sort of liked the idea, they believed in us, and they said they would go with us. And the city itself and the cultural office also liked the idea and offered us a small budget to start with, and really encouraged us to do this because everything concerning music in Hamburg finds an open door. The scene, we also wanted to connect to the scene, and actually that was the most difficult part. There's the India radio station, there's the radio big band, there's a jazz association, there's some small clubs, and other people organizing concerts. When we hooked up with them, they a little bit turned back and were like, we don't know you guys. Why do you think you could do a big international jazz festival? We don't really have big jazz here in the city. So there was not so much of the help in the beginning. It's different now. And the next challenge was the budget. I had a little calculation about the budget for the festival, and I really wished I still have it, but I don't have it anymore. We calculated that this festival is going to cost us something like 300,000 euro. We had 100,000 euro already. That was September 2009. We figured we have some ticket income, maybe we need another 50, that would be great. Oops, that was too fast. And at that time I was invited to present this idea to the Board of Tourism in Hamburg. The Board of Tourism is a very powerful meeting of men. And I was invited, I came up with the idea and I said, yeah, my friend and I, we have this great idea, bringing the festival, 2 days, 10 venues, 50 concerts, international big acts playing next to Hamburg local heroes, thousands of people coming, tourists coming into the city and blah, 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 blah. They were all clapping and said, yeah, go for it. And there was one who posed a question and said, what was your budget? And I said, yeah, we summed it all up. It's like 300,000 euro. And it's like, nodded his head. And after my presentation, he walked up to me and gave me his business card. And he said, I guess you miscalculated a little bit. If you want to, you can give me a call. I'm like, okay. I checked his business card and didn't even know his name. He is the biggest festival promoter in Europe. He does huge rock festivals, like Hurricane, Southside, you know, he even has one in Switzerland. I forgot to look it up which one it was, but I can do it later. And so I'm like, yeah, all right, but I put it in my pocket. I didn't really care about it because it was so full of energy, I wanted to go. A week later, his secretary called me and she said, Mr. Koopman invites you to his office. And I went to his office and he took made some scratches on a board, like curves and figures, and he said, da-da-da-da-da-da, and he said, you know, this sums up to at least 600, 700,000 euro. You're going to lose 150 the first year, 100 the second year, and so on and so on. So you're going to need money if you want to do this in 6 months. I said, yeah, oh, okay, yeah. I left, I went to my friend, and I told her about his concern, and I said, should we listen to him, or maybe he just doesn't want us to make a festival. So I didn't do anything. He calls me again. And he offered to join our small, just fresh, new build company and buy into us. He said he has no clue about jazz music. He actually hates jazz. He still does. He's one of the tough ones. But he loves our idea. He loves the potential brand. And he would invest and help us for the first 3 years. So we decided to do with him. And actually, he was our target group. He was one of the ones that we wanted to convince. We went up to another promoter that we always have been in touch. He's the biggest jazz promoter in Germany, but has no clue about festivals. We told him that his competitor wanted to join with us. He's like, huh? What does he want to do with jazz? But if he's interested, there's potentially something in it. I'm going to join you too. So now, could it get any better? We had like the 2 biggest shots in the music business sitting on our table and joining our company, and giving us the freedom to do what we wanted to do. Yes, it could get better. December 23, 2009, 2010 we started. I told you looking for great venues. There was one venue which was our biggest desire. There was the docks of the shipbuilding, Blumenfoss shipbuilding wharf. And this is a place where everybody wants to go, but it's high security area. They're building like marine ships and big yachts and blah, blah. And it's like no chance to ever get in. I tried, but so for 6 months I tried to get in contact with the CEO. And December 23, he calls me and said, if you want to, we can meet for lunch for an hour, quickly. You can tell me your idea. I'm a mother of 2 children. I dropped everything. It was the day before Christmas. Nothing was wrapped up and no Christmas tree yet, but yes, he wants to meet me. So I ran into this bar and I said, okay, I have 1 hour to convince him. And in the end, we sat for 5 hours. Talked about music, wharfs, ships, entrepreneurship, risks, everything. And I had such a great feeling afterwards. A few days later, he called me and said, I could have the docks. So what happened? In the end, in May 2010, we had 2 days, 15 venues, because we couldn't say no, we wanted 10, but there was so much excitement about all these venues, and more than 70 concerts. Get an idea, the scenery was a combination, the scenery, the combination of harbor and the music attracts more than 10,000 people. And today we have like 20,000 visitors who are coming from all over the place. Once everybody is there, they're ready to explore, so you get some impressions here. And we didn't only involve these venues, but also we involved museums, theater. We connected the different genres of art, because I think we all have the same problem to reach our target groups. And through the festival, we can work out together and communicate in a different way. We did some research and found out that more than 50% of the visitors claim that they've never been to a jazz festival before, and that ELBJAZZ changed their mindsets about that music. So ELBJAZZ turned into is one of the role models for developing a new audience, and we talk about it a lot. And so we talked a lot anyways today, and my desire is not to fulfill a need, but to create a need. I create a need with you, and end up with some good music. Thank you.
I'm really tired of my concrete jungle. 6 days a week is way too much. I'm gonna make the great escape, go on a little getaway. I'll go get my beat up motor, start it up and head for the green of endless countryside, and go somewhere I've never been. Thank you.